They're contributing to the rise in global sea level, about an inch over the past few decades. The rate at which the sheets vanish isn't the same, though. Greenland's is disappearing much faster. The ice sheets can be hundreds of feet thick, but as the climate has warmed up, they've been shrinking. According to one study, from 1992 to 2020, they lost a combined 8 trillion tons of ice, with Greenland contributing more than half of the total. That's a bit surprising because the Antarctic sheet contains more than 8 times as much ice as Greenland's, but they're disappearing for different reasons. The Antarctic sheet disappears as shelves of ice that extend over the ocean break off and float away. That's happening more often because changing winds are driving warmer water toward parts of the continent. As the icebergs move out, more ice glides from the land into the sea, raising the global sea level. About half of Greenland's ice loss is driven by the same process, but the other half comes from melting. Greenland has warmed up more than the rest of Earth, by about 4 degrees Fahrenheit in summer and 9 degrees in winter. Some of the water trickles to the bottom of the ice. It lubricates the rocks below, so the ice flows toward the ocean faster, contributing to the demise of Earth's second largest ice sheet and the rise in global sea level. Science in the Sea is a production of the University of Texas Marine Science Institute and is available as a weekly podcast at scienceinthesea.org. I'm Holly Brawley.
This program is underwritten by Digital Business Solutions Incorporated, your Conica, Minolta, RiverTech authorized dealer. Also Univine, binding, laminating, presentations. Offices and services located in Fort Smith and Springdale. Phone 479-783-4980 or email at www.digitalofficemachines.com, aka via community partner.
way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. How you doing?
Can you send him the link? Okay, that's okay. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay. I can.
Yes, you hear Aretha Franklin talking about ain't no way. We're going to have that conversation. She's going to lead us in our conversation today as we have all of these topics that are centering us in blackness, talking about what's happening to us in our black bodies. But these are conversations that everyone can have because we are connected through the spirit of Sawubona. And that's how we greet you this morning with that Zulu tribal greeting, Sawubona, which means hello, yes. But it also means, if you dig a little deeper, that I see y'all. We see y'all, and we are inviting y'all to see all of us being everybody that we carry in our bodies. When we show up in your face, we are not showing up alone, but we carry our heritage and we bring it forth, and we do so proudly, and we expect you to do the same. So we are creating space for the whole of who you are, and we are binding ourselves together in the spirit of oneness that is humanity. And so we are inviting you to this conversation today right here, Community Voices, where you are live with your host, the Reverend Dr., but you can just call me Denise. And we've also got your host, your co-host, the Pastor.
Well,
we got a guest in the studio. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, always first. Let me just make sure that I say to you that we are grateful. We are ever so grateful for who you are to us as community, as support, as encouragement, as challengers, as pushbackers, as those who help us toe the line to make sure that whatever we say is what we do. Because we want to make sure that we are living out what we talk about in this space. We don't want to just be pontificators. We want to make sure that there is some substance to what we are saying, and that you can see it, that you can feel it, that you can know it, that you can trust it. So thank you so much for being here with us. Before we go any further, let me pause and give you an opportunity to hear from your co-host this morning. Good morning, Grand Rising to you, Tom.
good morning and grand rising to everybody. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. It's going to be hot, so please take care of yourself. Just want to thank all of you for listening in. More importantly, just want to thank all of you who take time out to support Community Radio KBF at 88.3 FM, Voice of the People, your voice. And just want to thank you for all your pledges, all your donations that's still coming in, and we just really appreciate it. If it's okay, Denise, I just want to read this one quick announcement.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay. So Family Dental is having their annual one-day event giving free dental services to the community we love. Join us September 8th, starting at 7 a.m. and continuing all day. That address is 13600 David O. Dodd Road in Little Rock, Arkansas. That's 72210. That's September 8th. It's going to start at 7 a.m. all day at Family Dental, 13600 David O. Dodd Road in Little Rock, Arkansas, 72210.
I also want to let you know that the National Wildlife Federation and Garden for Wildlife Incorporated has launched an initiative to provide free native plants to community-based organizations that want to create or maintain community gardens. Gardens. You can learn more and apply at gardenforwildlife.com. And I have that link, gardenforwildlife.com. If you want to call me, holler at me at area code 228-236-7440. I'll make sure that you get linked up to whoever you need to be linked up to, Jessica DeVault, so that you can get those plants, because community gardens are a thing and we need them absolutely. So we invite you to take advantage of that opportunity as soon as you get a chance. I don't see you. As soon as you get a chance. Yeah, so we got a guest in the studio. It's Keith Harper. You all have heard from him before. I'm trying to get him. I got to send this link to him real quick, y'all. Because we got this technology going on. Whatever link he using ain't working. So let me send him something else, see if we can do that. So we can make sure that those of you who are watching, you can see him. You can see him on the screen. So that's all we're trying to do as we prepare for the EJI tidbit that is also going to ground us in the space with Aretha Franklin singing "Ain't No Way," and you have Cissy Houston in the background with those high vocals. That's what that was. And she also has some help with the vocals as well. But I want to make sure that you hear from Keith first before I read the tidbit, because I want the tidbit to actually lead us on into the conversation. So Keith, what's the problem with your phone? But anyway, while you're working on your phone, go ahead and greet us this morning.
Hi, how's everyone doing? I am Keith Harper, actor, producer, director, artistic director of the Ozark Living Newspaper Theater Company. And I just recently did a show.
We know, because you came on here to talk about the show.
Yeah.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity.
And that is really why you are back. Yes.
That's right, yeah.
You are back because you wanted to say.
I wanted to hear y'all responses to and just feedback from the show and what you guys thought. It's called Skeleton Crew by Dominic Morrisseau. It was at Pulaski Tech, August 10th through the 13th, so about a week and a half ago. Just past weekend, not this past weekend, but last weekend. And we had a really good crowd, and I'm just interested to hear y'all's feedbacks and all that.
I think also what Keith is forgetting, one of the primary reasons why he was here was to say thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, yes, and thank you to the community.
You got to help black men here.
Well, hold up. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. We don't want to get it twisted here.
At all.
Hold up now. Hold up. You went a little bit too far there, the Reverend Doctor.
Right.
I don't think so at all. One of the things that Keith and I, because Keith is always calling me asking for feedback. And so one of the things that I appreciate is that as an artist, and let me just speak for myself, and Keith can speak for himself, but as an artist, it is difficult to show to the world, to bare your soul to the world through your art. And so to put it out there is very, you heard, what's her name? The one that sings Tyrone, Erykah Badu. I'm sensitive about myself. I'm sensitive about what it is that I have spent this time laboring over, this vision that I had in my head that was birthed from the spirit in my soul. And then it comes to fruition, and now it's manifested, and I have it in my hands in one form or another for me to present that to the public and then allow the public to have some kind of reaction.
Come on.
Like, that's a whole thing. That is a
Sure
whole thing. And yet Keith is able to say, even though this is my soul that you have witnessed, I want to know what you think about it. I want to know what you feel, no matter what it is. Because I'm like, look, art, can you sure? Like, yeah, give it to me. And so he really does mean it when he says, hey, I want to know how you responded to the play. So those of you who were at the play, and I know there were some of you who were at the play, because some of y'all got free tickets to get to the play, and some of y'all I saw using your free tickets when I was there at the play. So if you want to call in and let us know your reactions to Skeleton Crew, Keith is here for it. And he also wanted to make sure that I wanted to make sure, let me just be clear, that we created space for him to thank you for your support of that production, and to get ready for what's coming. What's you got coming up?
Cynthia's Place at the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts. That is a stage reading by Kendrick Jones. Her play currently is on off-Broadway called Flex, but she's coming back to Little Rock to do a stage reading called Cynthia's Place. It's about sparking dialogue among children and just adults and family overall. September 9th
September 9th.
from 2 to 4
So that's a
p.m.
Saturday,
That's right.
2 to 4 p.m. right here at the Museum of Fine Arts, which is in our neighborhood, right? Like it's not far from us. I guess it's on 9th Street. Would that be 9th Street at the Museum of
It is
Fine
on
Arts?
9th Street.
Yeah, it's on
That's
9th
right.
Street.
It's a couple minutes away.
Okay. So feel free to jump in on this conversation whenever you get it. You know, you're here now.
Yes.
So feel free to jump in. So our EJI tidbit, every week we take a moment to listen to these words that are recorded on a calendar. And there's only a little bit, that's why I call it a tidbit. There's only a little bit of information that's recorded on the calendar, and that's what I read to you. But you can go to the website, the EJI, Equal Justice Initiative website, and they have the calendar every single day. Like, you don't have to buy it. Like, they have it online, and they give you way more details. They go into way more depth about the situation. But I just use it as I don't want to say a teaser, because sometimes we don't take teasers seriously, but I just use it as a starter, a conversation starter for us. So on August 22nd, today in 1905, white people riot in Pittsburgh after Charles Miller, a black man, enters a public restaurant. On August 22nd in 1905, white people riot in Pittsburgh after Charles Miller, a black man, enters a public restaurant. So all the black man did was walk through the door. That's it. So his very presence alone, this spirit of the living God, embodied in blackness, set the white people on fire. So now they want to riot. And y'all know what a riot is, because you always use it when it shows when we talk about black people protest. Every time we protest, every time we stand up, every time we dare to raise our voices for what is right and holy and just and sacred for us, you call it a riot. So you know what that means. You're blowing up stuff, you're tearing up stuff, you're trying to hurt people and harming people and possibly killing folks. They rioted just because the black man's body appeared in a space where they were. And so when you think about that, because again, people keep asking me, why do you keep reading these tidbits from so long ago? Why can't you just move on? Why can't you just let it go? Why can't you just stop? Basically, just stop, shut up. And we can't, because when you think about what's happening now in the year 2023, particularly as it relates to the Learns Act in Arkansas with our governor, Huckabee Sanders, just the idea that you would dare to talk about blackness in a way that honors the black experience. Black being defined as all members of the African diaspora. So all of us we have ancestry that traces back to being kidnapped and captured and brought from our native land over here. So everybody who's part of that connection, everybody who lives in that particular spirit of the Sawubona, that's what we're talking about. So just the thought of having conversation about it, just the thought of entering it into dialogue, just the thought of adding it to a curriculum, just the thought of giving somebody credit for daring to learn about it, just the thought of allowing somebody to get credentialed because they take a test for it, just the idea that you want to talk about blackness sets some white people off, and now you want to riot. You may not be blowing up a building, but you're definitely harming our community and coming for our bodies, because you dare not allow blackness to be what it is. And so when Aretha Franklin sings these words, stop trying to be somebody that you're not. I said, wait, girl, say that again. I had to back up. Aretha sings, stop trying to be somebody that you're not. She's talking to the white humanity. She's talking to whiteness. She's talking to white people who feel this way, who believe that by some divine intervention, God set you on this earth to be superior, to be the ones in charge, to be the head only and not the tail, to be the lenders and not the borrowers. You believe that in the core. And so you are trying to be somebody that you are not. Because again, we greet you every week in the spirit of Sawubona, because you are human just like me. You are not better than I am. You are not more than I am. You don't deserve more than I do. We are one in the spirit of humanity. And so she says that. Here's what she says. And here's what Aretha says right after that. Hard, cold, and cruel is the man who paid too much for what he's got. Hard, cold, and cruel is the man who's paid too much for what he's got. And so when we think about that in the context of social justice, in the context of the system of white inhumanity and the system of whiteness that continues to plague us with its lies, that when you have paid everything for this idea of what it means to be white, you have paid with your dignity. You have paid with your respect. You have paid with your livelihood. You've paid with your jobs. You've paid with you have put the essence of who you are on the line to further this myth that you are superior. So you've paid too much for it. You've given your whole self over to it. And now when it's time, it's past time, it's been time for you to tell the truth about it, it cost you too much to let it go. And so that's why you keep fighting it, because everything that you have is attached to it. And we are here to dismantle it. We are here. We are coming for it. We are making sure that you understand it. Ain't no way we're going to keep going like this. Ain't no way you're going to stop us. Ain't no way you're going to keep us from getting what's rightfully ours. Reparations have already started. They are yet on their way, and we will claim them from this day forward. So let me just pause and see if there are any reactions to that.
I think, one of the things that we have to realize is that when you said that, people, there's a segment of this society who wants to forget the past. They want, just want it to disappear. And so when you start looking at it, even though it was 1905, and it is 2023. Those, like you said, those same things are happening. All you have to do is look at January 6th. White inhumanity was so incensed that they want to overthrow their own system that they created. And so when it comes to Black bodies, Sarah Huckabee talks about this one thing. Every time they ask her about the AP African American course that she opposes, she says that she doesn't want this hateful indoctrination of our children to be taught that true American history needs to be taught. True American history. But the question is, what is true American history if you don't include Black history, if you don't include slavery, if you don't include the horrible things that were done to Black bodies that were kidnapped and brought over here and brutalized? That's true American history. And you can't have that. You can't whitewash that. It is there. It's a fact. It's true. And no matter what you do, it's going to come out.
What I thought was interesting, what Denise said, one word that really stood out was fight. Because fight can be emotionally, it can be mentally, it can be physically. And in this case, and then I'm going to take a word for you, Huckabee. We talk about governor and everything and how they're trying to pull those courses away. I think about Little Rock Central specifically and what happened there. I don't be talking about, early 1900s and all that jazz. But I really think about Little Rock Central because, and this was a Facebook post, but I think it needs to be said because somebody said they're trying to erase the history so those kids and grandchildren that are in school now won't see what their grandparents did back then. And I thought they really stood out to me. It's as if there is a effort or a fight to hide or cover up something, especially with Arkansas history.
And so I want to make sure that everyone is clear about what's happening with the AP advanced placement. That's what AP stands for, advanced placement. So high school students are allowed to take this course and it gives them college credit. It's also a course that's being taught on a college level in several universities across the country. So advanced placement, African American studies or history, whatever word they put on the end of it, it is being taught here in Arkansas. The class is still being taught. Students are allowed to take the course But what's happening is that they don't want to give you credit for the course, and then there's an exam that you take at the end of the course. They don't want the school, the Arkansas, when I say they, the Arkansas Department of Education is saying that they will not pay for the course. They will not assist students. They will not pay for the course. They will not treat the course the same way that they treat any other AP course. It's a course that they are setting apart to stand on its own. And when asked about this, here's one section of what the Arkansas Department of Education said in response to the outrage that the community is voicing as a result of this decision. This is what the Arkansas Department of Education says. Until it's determined whether it violates state law and teaches or trains teachers in CRT, which stands for critical race theory, that's the acronym for critical race theory, and indoctrination, the state will not move forward. The department encourages the teaching of all American history and supports rigorous courses not based on opinions or indoctrination. And what I find interesting about this quote is the continued use of the word indoctrination. The word indoctrination shows up twice in these 6 lines of the quote that show up on the screen when you are looking at this video or you're watching it on the news. And I said, I find it interesting that we have this quote coming from the Department of Education when clearly they are not educated on what the word indoctrination means. When the Arkansas Department of Education says that they refuse to allow critical race theory, they refuse to allow African American history to be taught because it is an indoctrination, that alone tells me that you yourself, sirs and ma'ams and gender nonconforming folks, well, yeah, they probably have any y'all in there. Surely you don't even know what the word means, and yet you are our Arkansas Department of Education, because this is what the word indoctrination means. It is a process of teaching a person or a group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. Let me say that again. Indoctrination is a process of teaching a person or a group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. That means I'm just going to tell you some stuff. Don't ask me no questions about it. Don't ask me to prove anything. Don't ask me to cite any sources. Just take it for what I say it is, believe it, and then continue to spread it. Internalize it and then distribute it amongst everybody and everywhere you go. Critical race theory says, I'll invite you into dialogue. I invite you to ask me questions. I invite you to challenge me. I'm looking for your critique. Keith came on the show this morning looking for your critique. Because why? I know that my work will stand. No matter what questions you ask, no matter how you examine me, no matter how you interrogate me, I don't have to be bothered by it because I know that the work is valid. I know that there's verity in what I'm saying. I know that this is accurate. I don't care if you ask me about it. So for the Arkansas Department of Education to accuse us, those of us who are supporting African American studies, to accuse us of indoctrination, let me just talk about a couple of things. If you say, Tommy, what is true American history? You asked it a few minutes ago. Well, according to the Arkansas Department of Education, they would say, well, true American history says that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie.
Yeah.
You're right.
True American history,
pretty much.
Their true American history says that Thanksgiving was a friendly dinner between the Indians and the Pilgrims. That is a lie. It was the Pilgrims massacred the natives, the First Nation people. They stole their land. They forcibly removed them from the land that was theirs, and they want to claim it as their own. That's the truth. And so the reason why you don't want to teach African American history is because it will stand on its own and expose you for who you are and give truth to what Keith said. Now your children will know. Your children will know that you are trying to be somebody that you're not, and then you will also be exposed as the indoctrinators, because your trying to get your children and your grandchildren and your heritage to believe that slavery was something that benefited Black folks. You want us to believe that you were born to be in control of a Black body. Let me tell you another lie American history supports. True American history, according to what these people would say, is that Thomas Edison is the one who invented the light bulb, the way that we understand it today. Well, that's a lie. Yes, it is true that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, but his light bulb would only last 15 hours. So you really couldn't do anything with it. Plus, it wasn't available to the people. Thomas Edison had a Black associate named Lewis Howard Latimer, who was also working on this light bulb with him because he was his associate. So they're working on it together, and it was actually the Black man who was able to create and invent the carbon that was used for the filament that allowed the light bulb to actually, the same light bulb you're using now. His invention that was working alongside of Edison, that is what we are now using to light up our rooms. That is what we are now using because it transformed American culture. The Black man's invention did that, but you don't talk about him when you bring up the light bulb because your American history, true American history, only gives the credit to Edison. So if you want to talk about indoctrination, we got to start with you, Arkansas Department of Education. We got to start with you, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Ain't no way you can call me the indoctrinator when really that is who you are. Let me get this comment in. Phyllis Brown says, AP European history is indoctrination of whiteness. Perhaps the most indoctrination is the Bible, especially Colossians 3:22. Slaves, obey your earthly masters in everything, and do it not only when their eye is on you and to curry their favor, but with sincerity of heart and reverence for the Lord. AP European history is indoctrination of whiteness. Because when you eat, y'all know y'all don't want me to start talking about the Bible. So when you bring up the Bible, absolutely, the parts of the Bible that we reference, even in Black churches, are the parts that were given to us. Because those were the parts that were handpicked and cherry-picked. All of the parts about liberation, all of the parts about freedom, all of the parts about the Exodus. They don't want you to talk about that, and we still don't. Calling you live on the air, KBF at 8.3. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Sister Denise, Brother Toney, to your guests. I really enjoyed the program that the skeleton crew I did attend. I was ready to my seat. I thought it was very, very good presented. I thought it was a good storyline. I'd go see it again. That's how much I enjoyed it. I hope to see some more of their plays in the future. I like going with peers. I like them as friends and associates, entertainers, as a matter of fact. But I really enjoyed that program. I also enjoyed the subject we talked about today. I didn't hear the word propaganda, so I want to put that into your space because that's the main thing I see about a daughter of a Baptist minister who intended to propagate a lie, fact check. And these guys are going all the way back to the teaching of Columbus and the so-called Thanksgiving celebrations with the Native Americans. What you call people from India, the continent of India, the country of India. You call them Indians or Native Asians. We know how you got the word Indian today, so it's just sad that you keep going on with this so-called truth history, which is essentially a period story that tells you what happened at a certain time in a certain place, but it's going to be just another method how many minutes they played, and how many points they scored, and how many times they attempted to score. But they won't tell you about Alexander Graham Bell or Thomas Edison or Benjamin Franklin or any of the so-called inventors and their companies that they kept the so-called forgotten ones, black inventors who were in their workshops and their sweatshops, making everything from stop signs and stop lights to laying out the plane for Washington, D.C. to do anything and everything to make life and work easier for those of us who were enslaved in America and didn't get any credit for anything from cotton gins to the way you disseminate information to refrigeration, boxcars, just a whole plethora of things that were invented and helped to make America a better place to live and work in. You don't get credit for it, but that's just like the religion you mentioned that was tied back, lied about. We have to confront these things with an open mind and remember that we are the subject, if you will, of a conspiracy or effort to do everything in their power to keep power the lost and found black man in America who was kidnapped from Africa. And with that, I'm gonna get off the phone. But I sure did enjoy that, and I really did. I was rooted to my seat. I had to move around sometimes to see because I was a big person in front of me, but the food was very nice. I just sold the wrong one at first. And I would go again if they presented it again, and I plan on attending some more. And y'all just, keep the venue for the public. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I think that is one of the critiques that we have about the play, Keith, is that
Give it to me.
About the sight lines, right?
Yeah.
We had everybody, we were all on the same level, and we were all our chairs. I think they tried to put us like, like
And windows.
they tried to, but it didn't work. And so a lot of times, I know the first night I went, I sat on the back row. I tried to get my friend to sit on the front row, and he was like, no. I ain't gonna say who it was, like, no. And so, and so we were doing this the whole night. We were trying to dodge the people in front of us. And so the second night, when I went on Sunday, I said, no. I'm sitting on the front row because I want to see everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I think with me, because I'm conscious of my height and I'm conscious of people behind me, that I don't want to block their sight.
You are tall.
Yeah. But I realized after I saw the play, forget the people behind me. I want to see because now they in my way. Now
But it was because of the sidelines. And so we talked about, I know Adam and I talked about, like, how do maybe we just need to build a platform and we can, that we can assemble that's portable and things like that so that we can figure out how to raise you all up. Not even fix us, but how to raise you up because y'all were at the same level as us. And so that is one of the critiques I know that came forth after watching the play.
Thank you.
And something else, Denise. Here's where it becomes problematic with me when we're talking about this American history. We talk about this system of white inhumanity. It's so there's so much hypocrisy in it. They celebrate based on their American history. They celebrate those who spoke up. They celebrate, Thomas Paine. They celebrate Benjamin Franklin. They celebrated Paul Revere. They celebrate those who stood up and spoke out. But when it comes to Black people standing up and speaking out, it's like, we don't want you to say anything. It's this idea when you're talking about.
Wait. Let's just keep going with that. When it comes to Black people who stand up, they assassinate us. They kill us. They murder us. Okay, keep going. I just want to make sure you said that part. They
call us militant. They call us rebels. And we're speaking up for the same thing that they speaking up for. They speaking up for their freedom. They speaking up for their rights. But when we speak up for, and it goes back to something you alluded to, Denise. As long as the law and the policies and law enforcement was on the side of white inhumanity, we couldn't say anything. I dare you to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So as things have changed and we have started to speak out, that idea of how dare you want to learn about your history? How dare you? Because if you learn about it, then you might be like the Haitians. You might revolt. You might stand up. You might want to
Or like
dismantle the
Turner,
system.
like, you know,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
Marcus Garvey. Like, but see, here's I'm sorry, Tony, I cut you off.
No, it just goes back to this great hypocrisy that and here, and let me tell you something. Black people, a lot of black people have become complicit in this hypocrisy. You speak against those who are speaking out for your freedom.
Man.
I ain't my ancestor.
All right.
Yeah.
If another person says I'm not my ancestor, I'm liable to give me a chair.
Yeah. You talking now.
You get mad. It's black folks listen to this show right now saying, I wish they'd quit talking about that.
Mhm.
What?
Right.
And you can't even step out your house and get any respect. You can't even go on your job and get any respect. And you may get shot just for driving.
Right.
All this.
Right. And see,
But we need to shut up.
And see, all that just resonated with me because my character Dez, he stood out and they was ready to fire him. so you were saying the connect right there. That was 2008.
Calling you live on the air. This is KBF at 8.3 FM. Thanks for calling.
You're more than welcome. Just one more thing that when we forget to stand up in the face of the enemy, we are cowards. And what am I saying? You just mentioned all these so-called great Americans. You didn't mention Pastor Henry, who said, give me liberty.
Give me death.
Yes, he said more than that. In the end, he said, give me liberty or give me death. In other words, fight to the end or you won't be liberated. And all of a sudden, liberals are the worst things in America when it was the liberals who fought the king and won the independence to make the United States a sovereign nation. That you are either a liberal or conservative on to stay the course back then. But the liberals fought and won. And that one person that you didn't mention in all the so-called great speeches in great America, he said, give me liberty or give me death. And that should be the mantra today that we should undertake. If we don't have liberty, then we are dead people. I mean, that you listen to me. Thank you.
And I want to say this. So yes, Patrick Henry said those words, and I have no problem with that. But I also want to share these words from my ancestor, Claude McKay. If we must die is the poem that he wrote. And listen to these words. If we must die, let it not be like hogs hunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accused lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us through death. Oh, kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men, we'll face the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. Claude, okay. Let me get this message in from Phyllis Brown. True American history is the Constitution written in 1787. That is, the original unamended Constitution permitted slavery. It did not secure the right of women to vote and no protection for religious freedom. Well, let's talk about that for just a minute, Phyllis Brown. I'm glad you brought up the Constitution because we always, even black, especially black politicians, who want to lift up the Constitution as this great and noble document. You want to talk about the founding fathers and what they meant, because they said in the Constitution that all men are created equal. Is that the Constitution?
That's right.
That's that all men are created equal. Let me just talk about the fact that we've got presidents. You said true American history. Right? True American history. These are your presidents, true American history. So you want to talk about the presidents. You want to talk about George Washington. You want to talk about Thomas Jefferson and James Madison and James Monroe and Andrew Jackson and Martin Van Buren and William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, James Polk, Zachary Taylor, Andrew Johnson, Ulysses S. Grant. You want to talk about all these that's all we want to talk about. We want you to learn the presidents for true American history. Going back to what you said, what's true American history? True American history based on the system of whiteness. We want you to be able to name your presidents, and we want you to know the order of the presidents. But what they don't tell you about the presidents is that George Washington had between 250 and 600 slaves. Thomas Jefferson had between 200 and 600 slaves. James Madison, Thomas Jefferson, the first president. George Washington, the first president, Thomas Jefferson, the third president, James Madison, the fourth president, had over 100 slaves. James Monroe, the fifth president, had 75 slaves. Andrew Jackson, the seventh president, had 200 slaves. Martin Van Buren, the eighth president, had 1 slave. William Henry Harrison had 11 slaves, and he was the 9th president. The 10th president, John Tyler, had 29 slaves. The 11th president, James Polk, had 56 slaves. The 12th president, Zachary Taylor, had 300 slaves. The 17th president, Andrew Johnson, had 9 slaves. And the 18th president, Ulysses S. Grant, had a slave. And so with those people, that's over 2,000 black bodies, black again, every member of the African diaspora, being enslaved by the presidents, the people that you hold up as to be the founding fathers who wrote this Constitution that says all men are created equal. How can that be? And you got slaves. How can that be that you are enslaving humans and controlling and degrading and humiliating their body, using them as breeders, torturing them, raping them? How can it be? So that's a lot. So let's be clear. It ain't no way that your problem is with African American history. That ain't the problem. Your problem is with your own history. And what we need to talk about is what we need to stop doing is separating the two. We want your history. We want you to learn about your history. We want you to tell the black folks, oh no, we believe, because what did they say? Oh, what was the other quote that I had where they talked about we want all African American history to be taught. We want you to know about your history. Listen, people, there is only one history. You can't separate black history from European history. You can't separate American history from African American. There's one history that we share. So it's not a problem we don't have the problem because we know what the truth is. We don't have a problem because we're living your hatred. We don't have the problem because we are living the impact of your evilness. You got a problem because you have yet to look yourselves in the face. One of the reasons why you don't want me to say Sawubona is because I say to you that in the spirit of Sawubona, you have to bring with you all of who you are.
Mm. Yeah.
And just like we say,
Yeah.
just like I say that I carry my ancestors. I do, and you do too. And you have yet to be able to say, look your own self in the mirror and say, oh my God, the blood that still runs warm in my body is from people who dare to believe that they could enslave folks. That's your problem. You are so guilty. You are so sad. You are so, you do not want to deal with the truth because you can't handle it. This is the truth that we are one in this history. So how dare you try to separate me? Because what you're really doing is separating a part of yourself.
And when you said that separation, and when you said it resonated with me. That's why they fight so hard. There are people who fight so hard for the Confederate flag. They're monuments because that's their history. That's their ancestry. That's their ancestors. But we don't want your ancestors. We don't want to talk about your ancestors. We don't want you to carry your ancestors. It's only our ancestors that are important. It's only our ideas that are important. It's only our race that's important. You're not important. And so as Black people try to do this one thing that I don't know if it ever will happen, And this whole thing has to change. As Black people try to come in alongside of white people and say, if you say this is our country, this is our country too.
Mhm.
And we have to accept us as part of our country. But they won't do it.
Nope.
But that's the part of the problem. I see you, caller, stay right there. I see you. But the problem is though, when you just said a few minutes ago, we want white people will say we want our ancestors, but we don't want yours. Again, your ancestors are my ancestors
That's
because
right.
Thomas Jefferson raped Sally Hemings and had children who he then enslaved.
Right.
So you cannot say that you got ancestors that I don't have,
Right.
and I can't say that I got ancestors that you don't have.
Right.
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
Caller, you're live on the air.
That's
Can't
it.
be up there.
That's it.
That was it right there.
Thanks for calling. Caller. Morning.
Yes, good show. I'm not getting the echo back.
yeah, turn your radio down.
Okay. Well, I'm in another room. I don't know why. Let me step outside. Okay, how about now?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Williams.
Okay, listen, did you all hear about the incident that happened in Mississippi about the young man, 10 years old, was caught urinating? The white lady accused him of urinating about her car, and they took him to jail for a few hours?
I'm not familiar.
Okay, it was on the Richard Smiley show. I listened to it every morning at 5 o'clock, and they announced it. Well, you can always check it out. But the point I'm trying to make, I like to make myself plain. I never really had no direct problems with white people, Caucasian, whatever. But the fact is the same. We're still here. I mean, it's the wrongdoing that they're doing towards the blacks. It still exists. Whether I like it or want to admit it or not, it's still here. And also, I want to say thank you for calling in the other day and giving clarity on what I was trying to express. I didn't get a chance to make it to that place down there at the Robinson. I told him I'd be. Did you make it?
No, Mr. Williams, I wasn't there.
I didn't make it either. Now, what was the author name that was in the book?
Ooh, I'm gonna tell you in just a minute. Keep talking. Go on with your comment, Mr. Williams.
Yes, what was the lady name that was there?
I'm gonna tell you in just a minute. Keep going.
Well, okay, then I just want to say I was gonna, after I got the name and everything, I was gonna call up there to Mrs. Burns at the Pyramid and have her to order me the book.
Okay, I hear you. The name is Nicole Fleetwood. Nicole Fleetwood, Marking Time, Art in the Age of Mass Incarceration. Nicole Fleetwood.
Okay, marking time. Well, that's a phrase that people that's been incarcerated a long time, that's what they call you learn how to do that. You learn how to deal with the situation when they call it doing time, marking time. I think that's pretty much the implication of it. But anyway, I just want to say, sister, thank God for you and Brother Toney and your guest. I can't think of his name right now. But thank God for strong women like you. Because I was raised by women. My daddy, he biologically, he did what he did, and he rode off into the sunset. And I was primarily raised by women and my uncle. My uncle taught me to work ethic, and my women taught me about the power of language and music and how to conduct myself and everything like that. But, we got to come on with it. I mean, it wasn't for the female gender. Man, we just be in trouble. All our wars, the woman was there, World War II especially.
working in a factory. My mother worked in a factory, making things for the military. So I'm just saying, we got to give the women their props. We got to shine the light on it. Going back to Harry Tubman and the rest of them. I just want to say that, and good show, peace and blessings.
Thank you, Mr. Willie. And I want to say this before we go. We got about 5 minutes, a little less than 5. Keith Harper is the name of our artistic director for Ozark Living newspaper, who's live in the studio with us,
Yes.
coming in to say thank you for showing up for Skeleton Crew. Also wanting to hear your comments, thanking you for your remarks, especially you, Ezekiel. And so Keith and I have been in conversation about the Black Love event. I said to him, and I'm saying this publicly, Keith, and you haven't heard this, but I'm saying it publicly.
Okay.
That Keith, we were talking about, we've already done 3, and Keith was like, okay, I'm ready for 4, what you gonna do? And I said, I'm not doing another one, Keith. I'm not doing another one. And he said, yes, you are. Do you remember that?
I did say that. I said, yes, you are.
Yes, you are. And I said, no, I'm not. I have not been satisfied with the first 3 episodes of Black Love. And I could not figure out why. But unlike the Arkansas Department of Education, I don't mind being critical of things. I don't mind examining things. I don't mind interrogating things so that I can get to the root of it, so that I can get to the truth of it. I don't mind that at all. And when I began to interrogate myself, I realized that I myself have done exactly what I asked other Black people not to do. When I designed the first 3 Black Love events, I designed them so that we were talking about Black love at the intersection of white and humanity. Basically what I did was I designed it so that we were thinking about Black love through the lens of whiteness. And so what I did was I positioned us as Black people to be apologetics. I positioned us so that we were trying to defend Black love. We were trying to prove Black love. We were trying to plead with folks to celebrate and honor and embrace Black love. That's how I positioned us in the design. And I did it unintentionally because I did not take the time to be critical about what I was doing, nor did I invite the critique because I just thought I had it. But this time, November 18th, when we have the Black love, it's different now. We're not doing that no more.
Okay.
Ain't no way.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep designing stuff where we got to beg people to see us. Ain't no way we gonna keep begging the public school system to see us as Black folks. I was watching a show the other day. These people were Greek. The parents immigrated to America, and she said, yes, we immigrated to America and we are Greek, so we went to Greek schools. And we kept our Greek traditions. And so we have got to teach our own children. I'm tired of continuing to see myself through white people. If I was white, they wouldn't do this. I don't care about what they're doing. I want to make sure that I am ever present in my Blackness and I am viewed just because of that and no other reason. And that's what Black Love for. That's what it's gonna do.
Come on.
Because it's a new day. Ain't no way we're gonna keep doing this the way we've been doing. Thank you, Aretha. Any last word? Well, y'all don't have a few minutes. Last words, 3 minutes for a few seconds.
Once again, thank you to everybody that came out. Thank you to 88.3 for y'all letting me come over here and give away tickets. I greatly appreciate everybody. Thank you. And I'm open to feedback, critiques, any way to enhance y'all experience.
And I just want to say thank you to Ozark Living newspaper, who airs their shows on every Sunday here at 4 o'clock here on KBF 88.3 FM. And please tune in Thursday for the workplace.
Your girl Lola is in the house ready for jazz for the next 2 hours from 10 to 12. You do not want to touch that dial. We talk about Blackness and she lets you hear about it through the music. So be here. Don't touch it. Stay. Community Voices, KBF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. Your girl Lola coming right up. We'll see you on Thursday.
You're listening to KBF 88.3 FM.